Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Always Sunny in Hollywood podcast, where we talk about stuff. And today's podcast is brought to you by the color green. We got a lot of green for you today. Introduce yourselves, everybody.
Hello.
You want to start?
You want you start?
All right.
Let's not all jump up at once.
I am Lugia, and I watch movies. Maybe.
My name is Red. I also watch movies and other things too sometimes. Did St. Patrick's Day pass not too long ago?
No, I think that's
St.
on the
Patrick's Day
17th.
in 3 days. Yeah, it's in 3 days.
All right. Well, still, we're close enough with the green theme, right?
Pretty much.
This was honestly perfect. I did not plan that.
Yep. All right. Well, you want to hop into some movie news?
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, just last night, Avatar became the highest-grossing movie of all time again.
Again, Return of the King.
Yeah. Apparently, they re-released it or something.
In
It
China.
It was news to me when I found out that it wasn't the highest-grossing movie for a while.
Yeah.
No, that was Endgame. Endgame
Yeah.
got that place.
For about a year, Endgame was the highest-grossing of all time.
Almost 2 years, but no.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
Then again, it's just Disney beating Disney, so no one lost in this argument.
Guys, how much money do you think Avatar 2 is gonna make?
They're making a sequel.
Yeah,
They're
for
making
the
6 sequels.
past 10 years they've been trying.
They're making 6 sequels. They have
What do you mean by trying?
Rings, it's all in a row.
I mean, it was supposed to come out in 2014.
It's wrapped up production like a year or so ago, but COVID delayed it to this year. It was gonna come out last year.
Honestly,
2021.
it's just look up the development news and all the release dates Avatar 2 has had. It is nuts. It has it's had more release dates than New Mutants.
Yeah.
Was this Avatar Forever?
Might as well be.
Yeah. I do respect not Avatar, but at least James Cameron a lot, because I feel like he's up there with George Lucas as one of the very few creators that has that can make big budget movies with creative freedom. I feel like that's a rarity. I don't mind Avatar being highest grosses. I know a lot of people are like, oh no, it has to be something monumental like Endgame. I'm like,
I've just kind of accepted that Avatar was the highest grossing movie.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter to me. I mean, the quality of the movie is what really matters.
I've never seen the movie. I just know that it is the highest grossing one. I'm like, okay, I guess that's a fact now.
Honestly, I saw Avatar when it first came out in theaters, but I've only seen clips of it since. I've never watched it fully, and I honestly don't remember a whole lot.
The thing I remember most about Avatar is that when I saw it in theaters, there was a line, and they had a second ticket checker in front to make sure that because I guess there's an issue of people just trying to sneak in at whatever theater we were at. It was kind of funny. Also remember watching it in 3D. So that's it.
Congratulations, Avatar. You've reclaimed your throne.
Yep.
Don't fucking lose it again.
It's in other movie news. The Golden Globes happened 2021. If you guys want to look at the list of the winners.
Yeah.
I looked at the list.
All right. So
I think the Oscar nominations come out tomorrow.
Oh, they come out tomorrow.
Yeah.
I was gonna talk about there's this famous statistician who does a predictions list every year, and he released his for what he thinks the nominees are gonna be. Whatever. So we got a pretty good idea of what they're gonna be anyway. Okay, yeah, so it does talk about TV shows. Okay, let's just go to movies. So for best movie, drama, Nomadland won. That's been getting a lot of buzz.
My guess is it's probably gonna win Best Picture.
Yeah, that's my guess, because it's the only one that people are talking about. Mank might win just because it's David Fincher, and the Academy likes to do this thing where if it's a super iconic director and they haven't given him an Oscar before, they'll just give it to him next chance they get. They did that with Martin Scorsese, because he quite frankly should have won for Goodfellas. So instead, they're like, well, next time, we'll give it to The Departed, close enough. I find it interesting that Promising Young Woman was nominated, because I didn't expect that to get nominated, since it's kind of, you don't usually see revenge thrillers get nominated for awards,
I find it odd that Hamilton was nominated.
Yeah, but it is musical. Like I don't think it counts because it was just a recording of a stage thing, but I guess it
Yeah,
does.
it's not really a movie. It's a filmed stage production. It's odd. I mean, nothing against Hamilton is great. Hamilton's great. It's just I don't think it really needs the Golden Globe recognition since it's not a movie technically.
I do think it's incredibly funny that Hamilton has won every single award it has ever been nominated for, except this one, and it lost it to Borat 2. It's the funniest shit. Borat 2 won for Best Picture in Musical and Comedy. It's amazing. So for Best Actor, we got Chadwick Boseman, who won posthumously, and Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, which I have never heard of. I didn't even know they made a Billie Holiday movie. Let's see, Best Actor, Sacha Baron Cohen for Borat, kind of hilarious, and Rosamund Pike for what I heard is just a watered down Gone Girl.
I don't think we need to go over all of the winners because that's
Yeah,
not
okay.
Just the
Uh,
top ones.
okay, let's talk about Best Director, also Nomadland, and Best Screenplay, Aaron Sorkin for Trial of Chicago 7. I disagree with that, but out of the movies I've seen on this list, actually no, I would have given it to Mank. I liked Mank more than Trial of Chicago 7. See, Trial of Chicago 7 came out the same year as this movie called Mangrove, which is like the exact same movie, but like 10 times better. Not 10 times better, but like I gave that one an 8. This one's like a 6. It's all right. Best foreign language film is Minari, which got a ton of flack because it's actually a U.S. made film, made by U.S. actors and directors and stuff. It's just they happen to speak another language in it.
Didn't I just say we weren't going to go over all the nominations and
I skipped like
here
half
we
of them.
still are? Yeah,
I
but I
skipped.
mean, we're not here to really
All
delve
right.
deeply into the
Okay, then
Golden
let's talk
Globe.
about the last one, which is Best Animated Feature, because that's the one where we've actually seen most of the nominations.
I've seen 2 of the nominations in that category.
I've seen 3. Whatever.
I've seen
It's obviously going to
0.
be the Pixar movie that
But
that's
which
good this
one?
year.
But which one?
The good one. Have you ever noticed that every time Pixar releases 2 movies in a year, one of them is like really bad?
Wait, you didn't like Onward?
I guess really bad is an exaggeration. I thought it was okay. You know, it was decent. I kept
It's just Pixar has this reputation for themselves where if they release a movie that's like not a masterpiece, people like absolutely dislike it.
It needs to be perfect.
well, I don't know. I feel like Pixar hasn't really released a masterpiece in like 10 years.
Well, that's subjective.
They've released a lot of good movies. I think Soul is actually one of their best movies in a long time. Like Soul and Inside Out, I really like those two. Just funny because they're the same director, and they both released in a year where Pixar dropped 2 movies at once. Except with Inside Out, it was The Good Dinosaur, and apparently Good Dinosaur is considered one of their worst movies. I once got in trouble because I jokingly called the dog human in that an animal cracker.
Yes, I remember that, and
That's a funny gag. You got
myself that I laughed at that.
yeah. As for TV nominations,
I just said we're
uh,
not going
We're
over
not
all
doing
the
TV.
nominations.
I was gonna say that I haven't seen any of these shows, so I can't say anything.
Why are we still talking about this?
That is
Yeah,
a
you
good
know what? Just
question.
forget that.
Saying we're not going over everything in red. You keep going over everything.
All right. Well, let me just look at what the Oscar stuff is. Basically the same movies. Nothing to worry about. All right.
The nominations aren't out yet. Those are predictions.
Okay. Just one last bit of news before we get into the movie is today today is March 14th, also known as the day crabs fries.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yes. Today is the day that the climax of the SpongeBob movie occurred.
It's also Pi Day.
Ah, right, Pie Day. Completely forgot about that.
You can have crabs in your pie.
That
And then you get the
sounds
best of both
disgusting.
worlds.
That sounds like the worst of both worlds.
You haven't tried it, you don't know.
Okay, is that all the movie
Maybe-
news?
Yeah,
we wanna
that's all
talk
we have
about?
on the list.
Yeah, I mean, there's the Kids' Choice Awards, but do you really want to talk about that?
I never really cared for the Kids' Choice Awards that much.
Yeah, I don't remember anything about them except slime.
We're going to get into the movie now?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So we've discussed Blue with Avatar reclaiming the box office. We've discussed Gold with the Golden Globes, and now we move on to Green with the Green Hornet.
Green's not a
Subject
primary
information.
color.
The What should I start with? Should I start with the
The
synopsis?
background
or...
of the movie, like how it came to
Alright.
be.
Okay. Upon doing my research, I actually discovered that the Green Hornet is actually based on a radio show from the 1930s, which actually spun off into a few different things. There was, I think, a TV show. I think there was there a comic book?
I know there
Yeah,
was a
there was.
TV show.
Yeah, I
Uh,
feel like the TV show is the most famous iteration.
Yeah, so Green Hornet has actually been developed into quite a number of things.
Yep.
Have you guys even heard of the Green Hornet before?
Nope.
Before this movie, no.
Yeah,
But
me
I
neither.
do remember this movie being talked about a lot back in, when we were kids.
Honestly, it's okay. I actually have a bit of an interesting relationship with this movie. I remember I saw the trailer for this 10 years ago because this movie technically came out in 2011, so it's 10 years old. Let that sink in. 2011 was 10 years ago. But I remember seeing the trailer for it and thinking that looks pretty cool. But I didn't actually see it in theaters. I don't remember why, but I remember it always stuck in my mind like that's the Green Hornet is a movie I'm going to watch someday. And
Yeah.
like a few years later, I rented it from the library. It didn't really stick with me. Like I honestly, I didn't really remember a whole lot of it. Like upon revisiting it, it's funny when I told my parents I need Netflix to watch The Green Hornet. They actually kind of remembered the movie I was talking about, but they didn't remember it by its name. They only remembered it based on like one scene. And like I said, I'm watching The Green Hornet, and my mom asked, "Wait, is that the movie with the coffee?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's the movie with the coffee." And my dad asked, "Wait, is that the movie with the car in the elevator?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." My parents
Um,
actually remembered this movie, and I'm amazed by that.
Surprisingly,
because-
from only two minor things.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm trying
actually,
to think of
the coffee
um
was like the one thing I did remember from this movie.
yeah, I'm trying to remember I feel like there's always that movie you have when you're like a kid that you want to watch and then for some reason you just don't.
Yeah, that was this movie for me.
That was Scott
For
Pilgrim
me,
for me.
for me it was The Dictator, that really bad comedy.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw it recently. It's not good.
I remember people talking about that movie when it came out. But
That's Wikipedia. Apparently they're making a Green Hornet animated series.
they are?
Yeah, it
Huh.
was announced in July 2020. Not that long ago. Kevin Smith is apparently creating it.
So it's
Okay,
getting
so
another TV show.
Animated
okay,
one, and since it's Kevin Smith, I'm assuming it's gonna be like a comedy
Okay.
okay, so
similar to this.
seeing as like none of us are familiar with the Green Hornet, we can't really speak for how well this movie captured the spirit of it. So we're looking at it
Yeah,
on its
but
own. Yeah, we're gonna the plot. I'm just letting the
no,
audience know
not
that
that. No, we don't know the whatchamacallit, the Green Hornet, but I think we can talk a little bit about the director and the writer.
the director. Okay, I was
The
gonna
director,
I was just gonna move into the plot, but okay.
We have it in our notes.
yeah, sorry. So the director is Michel Gondry. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry, Michelle, whatever. She directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Never seen it. I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that surprised me a lot because this movie is nothing like that at all. Eternal Sunshine is like this weird sci-fi romance story.
I mean,
It's
it's always good to branch.
very good. I highly recommend it.
Directors can branch out. You don't got to be confined to just one genre or one style.
You know. He also made that Jim Carrey TV show Kidding. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I've
Never
heard
heard
of
of
it.
it.
It's the one where he plays a Mr. Rogers type. I saw the first season. I actually thought it was pretty good. And as for the writer, it's going to be Seth Rogen. We're going to get a lot into Seth Rogen later, so I'll just leave it at that. Take it away, Patrick.
All right. So as I said before, we are not familiar with the Green Hornet, so we can't really judge this as an adaptation. We're just going based on the movie itself and nothing else. So, get into a plot synopsis. All
Yep.
right. So,
This is going to be the spoiler-free section. We'll get into spoilers a bit later.
the Green Hornet is about a guy named Brett Reed, who is played by Seth Rogen, and he is a guy who is perfectly happy, living his life carefree and completely aimless. But after his father dies, he inherits his newspaper company, and he decides to team up with one of the employees named Kato, played by. Uh,
Jay
sorry, I
Chow.
don't have. Yeah, sorry, I didn't have the thing set up. But the two of them decide to take on the persona of a masked crime-fighting vigilante called the Green Hornet, which they use to take down a powerful criminal named Chudnovsky. And the Green Hornet's crime-fighting antics both help his father's newspaper stay in business and satisfy both Brett and Kato by feeling that they're actually doing something with their lives. And
Yep.
thus we have our superhero movie.
So, what
Would,
are your general
would you
thoughts?
classify this as a superhero movie?
It's definitely a superhero movie, a superhero comedy. It's kind of like Did you notice that like in the late 2000s, early 2010s, there was just a ton of like weird alternative superhero movies like
Well,
this
my question is,
kick-ass
Kinda, yeah.
what
super.
defines a superhero movie?
They're super. I mean, they explicitly say in the movie that they're superheroes. So I think you can safely say this is a superhero movie.
Right.
I'd say it's like
Oddly, this is
a more actiony focused good guy versus bad guy sort of thing.
actually, guys, it's interesting. This is one of two superhero movies released in 2011 that have green in the title. The
Green
other being
Lantern
Green
is the other
Lantern.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm willing to go out on a
um,
limb here and say that this one is a lot better.
it's a,
I've never
it's
seen Green Lantern. I have no plans to.
yeah, it's a little better, I'd say, a little.
Anyway, yeah. General thoughts.
Yeah, why don't you start, Patrick?
Me? Okay. All right. All right. Honestly, this being my first time seeing this movie in like 7 or 8 years, I didn't remember a whole lot, and I'm like, well, let's see what we got. And honestly, this movie was a bit better than I remember it being. It's not great, but I'd say it's decent. I'd say it's pretty fun. It has a handful of flaws, but overall, I did come out liking it.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
yeah.
I have pretty similar. I don't think it's a terrible movie. But it's got some good moments. But I don't know. I just put it kind of average.
Lugia.
I'm kind of the same way. I felt like, I mean, it was okay. I've definitely seen worse, but I've also seen so much better. And I feel like this story was missing something. There weren't really that many stakes in the film. For instance, I have here in my notes, the Green Hornet's persona never resulted in a conflict with him and his newspaper company, and I felt like that was just missing. That was something that was never addressed, and it never had any relevance because of it. All they
Yeah,
really
I don't.
cared about was the Green Hornet's identity being revealed to Cameron Diaz's character.
I can't really judge it based off the original source material, but I figured since it was a comedy and it was trying to be a parody of like superheroes in general, I felt like this was trying to be like Batman, but like with Clark Kent's job. Yeah, so like they kind of went for a spoiled rich kid angle. Like, what if like Batman was just a typical influenza type rich dude rather than this dark tragic thing. Yeah, there's some decent comedy from it, but I feel like they didn't mine it nearly as much as they could have.
Actually, I find it funny how this whole movie, the whole plot of the movie is kind of kickstarted by coffee, like because he had a bad cup of coffee. Honestly, I think that's really funny.
I was a bit thrown off when like David Harbour showed up from he's best known from Stranger Things and
Yeah,
Hellboy.
I know. It's odd seeing him not be the sheriff.
So I've seen him clean shaven. That's the thing.
Yeah, like
Expect
the entire movie, I'm like, I think that's him, but I can't be sure. But then the credits roll, I'm like, oh no, yeah, that's him. Actually, guys,
uh,
one thing I was pretty surprised by this movie is just how violent it is.
yeah.
This movie, like it's PG-13, but there are some like pretty gruesome deaths in
Especially
here.
near the end.
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
found it really interesting how like this was sold as a comedy movie, but I thought the action was what was interesting to me. Like it wasn't that funny to me, but like it had like a lot of cool action.
I think they were banking on it being a comedy because they were proud of the writing, which I'll get into later. But yeah, for a majority of the film, I feel like this is more action oriented, and it's a lot better because of that.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it should have been a comedy because that really works with Seth Rogen's strengths, but I feel like he tried to like do it half and half, and he ultimately made a mess story with like
We'll
a
get
couple
into that with
lines.
our dislikes.
Actually,
Um,
thinking about it, I realized a lot of what I have to say about this movie is similar to my thoughts on Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is the better movie. Scott Pilgrim
Yeah.
is the
By a
better
long
movie.
shot.
Let's start with what we like. I'm gonna be real. I really like. I think the chemistry between the two main characters is really great. I think they have a
um,
pretty fun relationship. They have some pretty humorous exchanges. I like the two main characters a lot.
I agree to an extent. I feel like their relationship wasn't that groundbreaking, but for a majority of the film, they did work pretty well.
I think they played off each other. Okay, they had like a decent arc, but again, it was nothing amazing. Okay, I feel like we don't have much to say in the positives besides decent direction.
I
But
thought
I have more
Patrick was
things to
going to keep
say.
going.
Well,
Okay.
with the Scott Pilgrim thing, well, I'll say this in terms of my opinions. What I said about Scott Pilgrim was that I think that the characters, the humor, and the style were all great, but where the film kind of faltered a bit was with the character relationships. One of my biggest gripes with the Green Hornet is kind of the relationships. I mean, I like the two main characters, but I'm gonna be real. I didn't really find the romantic subplot that interesting.
This is actually the fourth movie in a row where the romantic subplot means almost nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
At least here it's like
I'll give credit,
intentionally nothing. Like this
I'll
time,
give
like he was
credit that
nothing because
Cameron
he
Diaz.
killed.
I'll give credit that Cameron Diaz's character actually serves a purpose, but
Yeah.
that whole part of the movie I just didn't really care for.
It wasn't forced to this movie's credit, but it still felt like it wasn't really anything special.
Yeah, it felt
And
like
also, also,
I feel like the love interest stuff was more of just a joke here to parody the superhero love interest thing.
and also to cap off the Scott Pilgrim comparison, I feel like the third act kind of dipped a bit for me.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
third act was just mostly
E-
action.
yeah. Um,
I would say that's kind of better, since I think that's this movie's strong suit, but in terms of
Yeah,
story, I can see why.
I just noticed a lot. I share a lot of similar opinions. I'm more positive towards Scott Pilgrim, obviously, but like for this, yeah, I'd say it's more of an average. But I mean, like there was nothing in it that I found like awful, but like nothing like reached like great for me.
I have a
yeah,
couple things to add on for things I like. Generally, this movie is shot pretty competently. While
yeah,
editing wasn't really that spectacular, it was still good. Again, the action in the movie was probably the best part about it, even if it was only for a few scenes. And this is just a personal thing. I like how their car is more versatile than the Batmobile.
That car is awesome.
yeah,
That was like one of the best like superhero movie cars. I'm calling it.
yeah.
Actually, I remember back when this movie came out, one of the things I remember is that Mythbusters did an episode dedicated to that scene where the car is rammed into the ditch. I can't remember if it was proven busted or not, but I remember that there was an episode they did to
I
promote the
think
movie.
that would be proven busted.
Going into dislikes, since we haven't talked about the villain, I guess just jump right into there. I really, really like the actor they got for the villain. He does a great job in like Inglorious Bastards. He's probably my favorite villain ever. Is probably his performance in Inglorious Bastards. He really wasn't anything special in this movie though.
I haven't
Just
Also,
seen.
the one thing I did like about him is that he wanted people to take him more seriously.
yeah, but it kind
He's
of felt like
kind
just a
of going through
one-off
like a
gag.
midlife crisis where he's like, I want to like, how can I be like a cool evil villain? And he changes his name. I thought that was funny, but
Yeah,
otherwise, the villains really aren't anything too memorable.
I haven't
yeah.
seen any movies where Christoph Waltz was in. I don't doubt that he's a good actor, but for a first impression from this movie, yeah, he wasn't really that interesting.
He does great work with like Tarantino, but here you don't know what I think they did? I think they just hired him because he was so good in Glorious Bastards that they're like, oh, this guy could probably play a great villain in anything.
He didn't have it. He barely had any direction. I think that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Actually,
I know
guys,
that
I just realized.
I know that he's the villain in the last James Bond movie. He played Blofeld.
Actually, guys, speaking of the villain, I realized this is the second movie we've talked about that involves a scene where the villain talks about wanting somebody's head.
What was the other one?
Samurai Cop.
Samurai Cop.
Oh, right.
So this was not intentional. I swear to you. It just happened, and I'm like, we're okay. So, to be honest, I liked this movie more than Samurai Cop.
I think as a movie, it's more competent, but Samurai Cop had a little bit more to offer when it came to quote unquote humor.
I'm gonna say for a comedy movie, it should have been a lot funnier. Honestly, it's kind of sad that Samurai Cop is funnier than this
The
since
writing,
it is a comedy.
I do not like the writing in this movie at all. I did not laugh once at the jokes.
Well, I'm gonna disagree. I thought a couple of the lines were funny. I thought interesting enough, I know you guys didn't care for Cameron Diaz much, but I thought her stuff was like the only funny parts of the movie.
No, I thought she was the best actor in the film.
I really like Cameron Diaz, and I think she's good here. It's just I feel like, again, I feel like she I'll give her credit. Her character does have a point. It's just her involvement in the movie I just wasn't really interested in.
Yeah, honestly, she was just kind of there for artificial conflict between Kato and Britt.
Although the scene where she kind of beats up Seth Rogen's character is good, and while I didn't laugh, I did think to myself, you know what, that's actually kind of funny.
There's a
Unfortunately, I
little bit of
think that's where the
catharsis
humor peaks for me.
I thought honestly I thought the funniest scene in the movie. I laughed quite a bit at this movie. I don't think anything major got like a huge laugh out of me, but like there were a few decent laughs here and there. I think the funniest scene is where Brett and Kato are fighting
In the
Oh,
house, and
yeah.
they just start breaking shit.
He gets like kicked through the window, and he tries to reach for an object to hit him with, but he picks up a dumbbell and he just falls down. I thought that
Hell
was
yeah.
fun.
I thought the opening scene was pretty funny. The one where Chudnovsky is talking to James Franco.
Oh yeah, that was funny too.
Yeah, because I just thought it was funny how like James Franco just immediately James Franco is what made that scene kind of funny because he just completely like started shitting his pants.
Speaking of the opening, did any of you guys think that that first flashback scene was a bit unnecessary?
What was the flashback scene again? I don't remember.
Flashback was he's a kid and he's brought to his father's office because he got into a fight at school. His father tears the head off of his doll.
Here's the
I
thing,
think
though.
they just wanted that as an excuse to like have them cut off the head or something, right? That felt like just a plot device, honestly.
I felt like that scene was intentionally supposed to be integral for Britt's relationship with his father in the beginning of the film. We don't get enough of that though. Like,
Yeah,
was it like 10 minutes in, his father dies? The only
Yeah.
scenes that we
scene
get
is only
are
like, that
that
scene is only like 2 minutes long, and like not really a whole lot happens.
the only times
This
we
is
see
like-
him actively get mad at his father is like at the flashback scene when he's a kid and when he's just sleeping in the bed with some girl.
And that's the
Yeah.
only time we ever see his father.
Yeah.
This isn't like
He's dead after
Batman,
that.
because I think with Batman, like his relationship with his parents isn't really like what's important, so you don't really need to know too much about them. But in this one, like the whole movie is about his relationship with his dad, so it feels like the reason he bonds with Kato is because they both hate his dad. Like the whole movie's about that, and the I guess going into spoilers a bit, the climax of the movie is about him realizing his dad was a shitty person and then learning that he wasn't actually a shitty person. So yeah, like his dad really needed a lot more time dedicated to him.
Yeah.
How long was this movie?
2
Almost
hours.
2 hours.
I think they could have like probably added in like a 10 minutes maybe.
They
just to
definitely could have done
flesh
more
him
with his
out a bit.
father. He was probably the most undercooked character in the movie.
You guys have any more comments for the negatives?
I feel like the ending was rushed, like the last like 5 minutes, because I mean, after the big action scene, they go to Cameron Diaz's house, and she is mad at them, but then she helps them, and then in the very next scene, she's like fully on board with what they're doing, and I'm like, did we miss a scene? There was no
And then-
transition
Yeah.
between her being mad at them and her joining them.
Yeah, and then it just like ends. Like, that's incredibly.
Yeah.
Like, the movie just wrapped up like super
was-
quickly. It felt like
it
there
was-
was like
I'm like,
20 minutes
there was-
cut out.
That was way too rushed.
Like when it ended, I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'll go watch something else then. I didn't really know what to do.
It was a bit messy. I'm not gonna lie.
In terms of other things we didn't like, at least for me, this is just a minor thing. Do you remember what the title card looked like?
No, not at all.
Because it was
Uh,
just cheap white text with a green outline that
oh
cross
yeah,
dissolves
oh
in and
yeah,
out. And I'm like,
yeah.
what is the budget of this movie?
A couple million,
Pretty
100
decent
million.
sized budget.
It was a
It's
high
pretty
budget
good.
movie.
So then why does it look like the title was made from the fucking 90s?
It had a budget of $120 million. That is a high budget movie. Good lord.
I will say that the best part about this movie is undeniably Kato.
Yeah,
He is
Mm,
badass.
he was
I'd
alright.
say. Thing is like since the action was like the only part I really liked, Kato just kind of by default is my favorite part of the movie because he's the only part. He's the. I want to see more of him just because he had all the action scenes.
I thought it was cool that whenever like he jumped into an action scene, he kind of like analyzed everything and then jumped in.
Like he was a
And then-
cyborg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like he was a Terminator. I'm going to assume this movie isn't faithful to the original just because Seth Rogen plays himself. He doesn't like.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he plays himself in pretty much everything he's in.
Yeah, I saw 50-50 the other day. He played the exact same character in 50-50. An asshole friend. Like, it was the exact same thing. And it was like, huh.
Except here's the central focus.
Except, yeah, because in 50-50 he was just a side character. So it worked a little bit better in 50-50 because he was just supporting him. There was like a thematic reason for why he was a dick. I'm disappointed because he didn't do the iconic Seth Rogen laugh enough. God, let me see if I can pull it off. It was like, uh, his last exhales like, that sounds like the cat in the hat. Shit.
Alright, calm down, Mike Myers.
Dude, it feels weird if I'm the only one. Yeah,
I feel like I have.
filmography.
I feel like I had like something else to say, but I can't remember what it was.
What is your favorite Seth Rogen movie? Let's get into Seth Rogen because I feel like he's the real heart of this film.
When you say Seth Rogen movie, do you mean like a movie he starred in, or just a movie that he's in, like as a secondary
I
character?
need to take a look at that because I might have
I'm
forgotten.
thinking like stuff he's either a major character in or stuff he wrote.
I've
So, like,
honestly
He's
not really
a major
seen.
character in Superbad, but he wrote Superbad. So like to me,
Honestly, I've not
Superbad's his
seen a lot of
definition.
Seth Rogen movies, so I can't really answer
Oh,
that
he was in
question.
The Disaster Artist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Okay, so Seth
He played
Rogen played
Mantis.
Sandy in Disaster Artist. That was the
That was the
director
director of the
for The Room.
He was in Sausage Party. If you guys ever saw that.
I have not,
I
but I've
have.
heard of it.
I don't think it's good. Some people do. I don't like it. He was in the 40-Year-Old Virgin, which is another movie that a lot of people like, but I don't. In terms of TV shows, he was in Freaks and Geeks. That's actually a pretty good show. I'd recommend that one. Yeah, in terms of movies, his best one's by far Superbad, I'd say.
We should just watch that at some point.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll recommend it one day. Maybe a double feature with that and Mean Girls, because those are the two quintessential high school comedies.
I'd
I
be
have
down for
never
that.
seen Mean Girls,
Lex.
and I keep meaning to.
Yeah. So I wrote in the additional comments a delusional rant. So I'm gonna do it. How would you guys make a superhero movie with Seth Rogen? Like, if you were to make a superhero comedy with Seth Rogen, what would your idea be?
I would not have him be the main character.
I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I never really thought about making a superhero movie.
I'm trying to think of like, how would I improve this movie? Make it better. And I'm trying to think like, I was thinking if we do have to make Seth Rogen the main character, instead of making this like a Batman movie, I'd make it more like Green Lantern. Because I was thinking Green Lantern, well, one is both green, so very convenient. We can keep the color scheme and all that. But I was thinking instead of the way Green Lantern works is that he charges his power using his lantern. So I was thinking like a Seth Rogen super movie, it'd be like he charges his power, but instead of like with the Green Lantern, it's like a bong. And he just takes like a massive bong rip, and that's how he gets his superpowers.
Of course, Weed Lantern.
Yeah, the weed lantern. That's what I'm saying. And instead of making him stronger and more imaginative, he just becomes like super lazy. So like, there's a police thing. Who's like, he takes a massive bong rip, and then he just like sits down. The criminals just walk right by him, and he's just like the most incompetent thing ever. Now, what would his origin story be though? Because like the way Green Lantern works is like an alien landed on him. I feel like that wouldn't work exactly.
He discovered marijuana, and then he was never
Yeah.
the same.
He smokes a radioactive piece of weed. That'd be stupid, no. Have guys ever read comics?
Not really, no.
That was a terrible
Not
question.
not like superhero comics. No,
Yeah,
I've
that
read
was a
other.
terrible question. In Thor, Jane Foster became Thor for a bit, and her origin story is that she had cancer. So I was thinking like medicinal marijuana. So like he gets cancer, and then he gets like this super special weed, and like the weed like alters his DNA, like Spider Man or Danny Phantom or some stuff. Or since we're going with the Thor thing, it'd be like he must be worthy of the marijuana. I saw Wayne's World 2 yesterday, by the way, so the worthy thing is kind of stuck on my head. Would you paint him green?
What?
Probably.
Paint him green. Make his skin green.
Uh, nah. Like a
Think
green
of all the
costume.
potential green screen effects, though.
Now, I think the main problem, they should have made Seth Rogen broke.
For this movie?
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, I don't Seth Rogen playing a spoiled brat like that doesn't work. I think it'd be better because like I feel like his best roles is when he's more grounded. When he's writing, it's best when he's more grounded, regular dude.
I think
And
it could have worked if he was spoiled in the beginning, and then when his father died, he slowly became broke.
yeah, I don't know, because like I'm thinking Spider Man. Like Spider Man is like everyone's favorite superhero. He's broke. That's what Seth Rogen could have been. It would have made sense because a complete stoner washout. I do think it was kind of funny though how like instead of him being a superhero, he was like a terrorist.
He saw himself as a superhero, and the
But like,
general public
Well,
said,
he
no, he's a bad guy.
he's a superhero posing as a criminal, which is
yeah, that was
odd.
pretty funny. I thought that conceptually was a funny idea.
Do we have any other further thoughts? Anything else we'd like to elaborate on? Or we recommendations?
We
or...
can discuss the cast.
You mentioned there's Ruben Langdon. We talked about the cast, so let's just talk about this little note you put at the end.
Yeah. He was a very minor character in the film. I just found it funny that Mr. Dante from the Devil May Cry series himself played a crackhead in this movie. And that's it.
And as for the soundtrack, you put who wrote the soundtrack note?
That would be me. I
All
said
right.
the soundtrack by itself was fitting, but they used Gangster's Paradise, and I cannot think about that song without thinking of a certain trailer with a blue asshole.
I always think of Amish Paradise by Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah, me too.
Every time I hear Gangster's Paradise, it's just war flashbacks of Sonic.
Whoa! Hey kids, it's me, Sonic the Hedgehog.
I knew it would be inevitable that we would bring up Gangsta's Paradise. But I didn't want to be the one to bring it up.
Oh no, Eggman! I've overdosed on ketamine.
Chili
So
dogs.
Chili dogs. Hey, I don't sound anything like Sonic anymore. I mean, I used to be good at impressions. I swear.
I mean, you
So,
did a decent Seth Rogen laugh.
I don't think that was a decent laugh at all. I feel like my plankton was better.
I guess the only other thing I want to add is that something.
Marty,
You guys notice how at the end of the movie during the big battle in the newspaper office, how nobody noticed, none of the employees noticed anything until the car drove in through the elevator.
I guess.
Shouldn't they have heard anything?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I could excuse that.
Felt like a rumble or something. I feel like it should not have taken them that long to notice.
Yeah, maybe.
What do I know? I've never worked in a newspaper building, so I don't know.
It's probably loud in there anyway.
I don't know how sound tight
The
those walls are.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like in Die Hard, they didn't really notice the. Die Hard's a much bigger building though than Nakatomi Plaza. Well, final thoughts, I guess, is I think this is like a really solid 5 out of 10 movie. It's like it's the benchmark for average.
I'd completely agree. This movie, again, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't anything outstanding either. There was nothing that would make me want to come back and watch it again. The chemistry between Seth Rogen and Jay Chow was entertaining, but it wasn't anything special. And I feel like that this movie was really banking on that. And it's humor, but none of that landed for me. It's just an average movie for me through and through.
I think I'm a bit more positive than you guys. I'd say it's like a 6 out of 10. It's nothing amazing, nothing you haven't seen before, and there are way better options. But I think for what it is, it's fun enough. It has a few laughs. It has a few cool action scenes. It has a few good characters. It's probably going to be a few years until I watch this movie again. But I mean, I enjoyed my time enough. It's decent.
So I guess compared to the other movies we saw, where'd you put it? I put it like above Samurai Cop, but below the other two movies we saw.
I would put this below all the other movies that we saw. It didn't really have anything special going on.
Okay, I can see that. I know, like you enjoy Samurai Cop a
I mean,
bit
of
more than
course I
us.
would.
I wasn't here when you guys talked about The Departed, so I can't go off of that. But in terms of the other two movies, obviously it's below Scott Pilgrim. It's above Samurai Cop for me, whether I'm looking at it ironically or not. I'm sorry, Samurai Cop didn't really do much for me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like even as a bad movie, like an intentionally bad movie, I wasn't too fond of it.
I guess in our recommendations, if I would compare it to,
First movie that came to my mind was like Deadpool.
I guess
I still need
first
to
movie that
see
came to
that.
my mind was first movie that came to my mind was Kick-Ass. If you guys remember that one, because I felt like Kick-Ass also kind of had like a grounded thing and had really cool action scenes. I just say I think the action in Kick-Ass is a lot better, and I think Kick-Ass is a lot funnier overall. So I definitely recommend Kick-Ass. In terms of Seth Rogen movies, definitely Superbad. That's his best one. Also, I don't know if you guys picked up on this too, but I feel like this is kind of like 21 Jump Street, you know, a bit.
I have not seen 21 or 22 Jump Street.
Neither have I.
I feel like they got a similar dynamic a bit. If funny buddy cop thing, I don't know. Maybe Men in Black, because Men in Black also got a pretty good buddy cop type deal.
I noticed you put Megamind on here. I think that's because of the villain trying to be a hero sort of thing going on. Except that's more of a focus in Megamind, not this movie, but it's still kind of there.
I more thought it was tried to be similar in terms of satire. I think Megamind executed a lot better, but yeah. I put Cowboys and Aliens on here just because, and R.I.P.D. But those movies aren't good, so I wouldn't actually recommend them. But if you liked Green Lantern, Green Hornet, you might enjoy those two.
What's the difference?
I don't know, maybe Charlie's Angels, Dick Tracy, Rush Hour. I'm just trying to think of like comedy.
Well, I mean,
Buddy
Charlie's
cop
Angels has Cameron Diaz in it, so.
She plays a completely different character though on that one. And there's on a Beverly Hills Cops, Eddie Murphy. I'd say Eddie Murphy plays off the charming lead a bit better than Seth Rogen does.
You guys noticed that after this movie, Cameron Diaz's career kind of started to go on a decline
Yeah.
until she just retired from acting in general.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she was in the absolute masterpiece Shrek 4. Actually, no, that was before this movie. Shit.
2011. Shrek was 2010.
Yeah, damn, I didn't realize it. Damn, Shrek 4 is that old? Damn, that makes me feel old. What the hell?
Disappointing because I really like Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, no, she's really great in like being John Malkovich. You know, I heard she was good in The Mask. Yeah, after this, I remember Bad Teacher. A lot of that movie being advertised a lot, but that's also 2011. So yeah, after 2011, her career just kind of.
Yeah, and then after that, she was in The Other Women. She was in Sex Tape. She was in Annie. All
Yeah,
of which
but
I heard.
those movies were no one saw those movies. Those were all failures.
She's doing well in whatever she's doing now. So yeah,
we
overall, Green Hornet is average at worst, decent at best.
Yeah.
So take that for what you will.
If I'm ever gonna watch this movie again, I'm gonna watch it high as hell.
I don't see myself watching this movie unless someone wants to watch it with me.
Like I said, I'll probably watch it again. Like, I'm not in a rush to see it again, but if it ever comes up, then yeah, why not?
Feels incredibly awkward that I'm the only one that attempted Seth Rogen impressions, man.
I can't do them.
You gotta
I'm not
help me
even
out. At least try. Come on.
I mean, I tried before we started recording, but I'm not letting the audience hear my take.
Man, this podcast should be a lot funnier than it is. God damn it. Oh well.
Humor was never an option.
Who picks the movie next?
Red does.
It's my turn now.
All right, Red, what do you got for us?
So I was thinking that because all of the movies we've seen didn't have particularly good romances or female leads, I was gonna pick a romantic comedy with the female lead. And ultimately I decided on the cult classic But I'm a cheerleader. It is apparently a staple in LGBT movie cinema. It being a cult classic to me means that it's either going to be amazing or terrible. So it'll be interesting to talk about. You can watch it for free. What?
But I'm a cheerleader. I've
Yep, that's what
never
it's
heard
called.
of that movie.
Yeah.
Never heard of
Red and I was talking about this last night.
Yeah, it's free on YouTube and IMDb TV, so I'm gonna post a link for you guys.
Okay.
Every once in a while YouTube will just release some movies for free with ads, but if you just put on ad blocker, you know.
So for what
Okay.
I'm seeing, this movie is generally mixed by critics, but
Yeah.
91%
But
of
again,
people like it.
it's a pro LGBT movie made in the 90s.
That's good. That's good.
So there's entirely possible that some of the negative reviews are a bit biased. It's definitely got a reevaluation in recent years. I know lots of people like it. A lot more people like it now.
All right, so this
Better-
this seems to be a little bit different than what we've previously talked about on the podcast. So this
Yeah,
should be-
I decided to
should
go
be
a bit weirder.
I'm
should
interested.
be interesting. Yeah,
Yep.
give it a shot.
Plus, it's I'm pretty sure it's Women's History Month. So
Yeah, it is. It is.
yep, International Women's Day wasn't too long ago. You know, we were talking about Deadpool earlier. Remember that scene in Deadpool where on International Women's Day he got pegged?
Which Deadpool was that? One or two?
One.
I
It
guess
was
been
in the
years.
montage.
years
Speaking
since
of International
been
Women's
years
Day,
since I've seen Deadpool.
this is gonna
Isn't it?
go completely off topic, but did you all see the Burger King post?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oof.
Oof. That
That,
was kind of funny that they thought. I don't know why they thought that was a good idea. I mean, technically speaking, it worked exactly as they intended the way the ad to work, but not all publicity is good publicity.
nope.
Someone
Mm-mm.
definitely got fired that day, I can tell you that.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So
Anyway, I'm
On
going to
that note,
I'm gonna write a treatment for the Weed Lantern, and I'm gonna stalk Seth Rogen and tell him my movie idea. Like, hey man, it's like the
All
Weed
right.
Lantern, but you take a fat bong rip. Just
all
a
right. So
fat bong rip, man.
I guess that about does it for this episode. Unless you guys have anything else you want to add.
I think I've said all that I wanted to say about this movie.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, Green Hornet. Next up, but I'm a cheerleader. We'll see you all then.